think this guy's dead, but let's check for a pulse.
Okay.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is one that I'm trying to sneak out under the radar right before Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes out. It's something that's been cooking in the back of my brain for a while, and I want to make sure we get it up on the channel before we get sidetracked by all the craziness that's coming in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, because I have some insane decks that are going to drop as soon as that set's released on Tuesday, so get ready for that. But this deck is called Vital Signs, and the idea here is we're taking sort of a traditional Selesnya enchantment brew, and we're adding red into the mix for some really important cards that are just going to give it a ton more aggression and a ton more card advantage towards the mid to late game, where you can just gas up and go way over the top of your opponent. There's some really cool inclusions here, and I think it's finally time that we start, you know, dipping our toes into some 3-color variants for these enchantment brews, because we have the mana to support it, and the cards that we can add in when we add a 3rd color are just kind of insane. Kind of like 𝐻𝑒𝑐𝑡𝑜𝑟, the last deck I did, just giving me all of these ideas about dipping into other colors and really just taking Selesnya enchantments over the top in new ways. And this deck's no different. This deck is super cool. I had a lot of fun with it. Before we break it down, make sure you like if you haven't already. It does so much more than you'd think it would to help this video get out to way more people, and that's exactly what I need so that this channel can grow. So I would appreciate it greatly. Just click the button. It's right there. Just click the button. And if you're new, subscribe so you don't miss any of my content, because I have, like I said, a ton of decks coming as soon as Outlaws of Thunder Junction drops, at least one a day lined up. I've got set review, all the set review videos for Outlaws of Thunder Junction right now are live on the channel. So if you want to see all of the spoiled cards, see what's coming, or more importantly, see my take on all the cards and all the crazy, wacky, zany ideas of stuff I think we can do with them, especially in Standard, you're going to want to check out those set review videos so that you can see all of the silliness, the absolute silliness that is competitive and has a chance of being very strong in the meta, but absolute bananas silliness that I don't think all the other content creators are thinking of right now, that I've got planned. So check out those videos if you're interested. Those are linked in the description. With all that out of the way, don't forget about Twitch, because I stream live every Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. I'll be there Tuesday for 12 hours streaming the launch of Outlaws of Thunder Junction live for all of you guys, with tons and tons of crazy decks that we're going to be brewing. So be there for that. I'll see you there. Without further ado, let's break down this deck. Alright, so the idea behind this deck is very simple. We're taking a traditional Hallowed Haunting Selesnya enchantment style brew, but we're turning it up to 11 by including red, and that's for 4 different cards, 2 of which are going to make us incredibly aggressive, way more aggressive than Selesnya aggro can be, Selesnya enchantment aggro can be. And then the other 2 are just going to give us an insane amount of card advantage over the course of the game. So we're going to start at the bottom of the curve, and then we're going to talk about the red cards. So starting in the 2-drop slot, we've got 4 Jukai Naturalist. This is an important part of the deck. It's going to come down early and make all of our enchantments cost 1 less, as well as giving us access to lifelink, which helps against other aggro decks. And then we've got Weaver of Harmony, comes down for 2 mana, and as long as it survives the turn cycle, all of our triggered abilities that are coming from our enchantments, we get the opportunity to double here, which is going to be work really well with a lot of the cards in the deck, but it works especially well with Spirited Companion, which could then come down on turn 3 and draw us 2 cards if we use Weaver, which is pretty awesome. Not only that, but Weaver's going to pump up the Spirited Companion into a 2/2 and make it an actual relevant body. And also the Naturalist is going to become a 3/3 with the Weaver, so Weaver's just awesome in this deck. And then our other 2-drop is Case of the Gateway Express. 2 mana for an enchantment Case. When it enters the battlefield, you choose target creature you don't control, and then each creature you control deals 1 damage to that creature. This deck goes super wide because of Hallowed Haunting, so it's really easy for this to effectively be a removal spell for pretty much anything on your opponent's side of the board, which is kind of nuts. So being able to remove the biggest threat and have an enchantment for all of your enchantment synergies, and then when you solve this by having 3 or more creatures attack in 1 turn, which again is pretty easy once this deck gets going, you also get this solve state of it buffing all of your creatures with +1 attacks. So there's so many different ways for this card to get value in this deck that I felt like we absolutely had to try it out. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we have 4 Wedding Announcement. This is a way to give us some chump blockers early or some extra bodies that can swing in once they get buffed up. But it's also potentially a way to draw some cards, and then eventually it flips and buffs our whole team. And no matter what, it is an enchantment itself, so it's going to work with all of our enchantment synergies. This is a staple of a lot of decks, especially enchantment-centric decks, so we're absolutely running the full play set. We've got 1 Calix, Guided by Fate. Just too good to not include. This is a card I'd love to have more of, but we're going to at least run the 1, right, with it being legendary. So 2/2 for 3, whenever we play an enchantment, we're going to get to put a +1/+1 counter on anything, and then whenever an enchanted creature deals combat damage to the opponent, we get to copy an enchantment in play, which is insane. We can also just do that when Calix itself, even if it isn't enchanted, deals damage to the opponent. So some interesting ways to create copies here with Calix, but even just gassing up with +1/+1 counters is going to be good. And then we've got 1 Katilda, which isn't an enchantment to start. I'm pretty sure it's the only card in the deck that doesn't start out as an enchantment, but it is a 3-mana flying, lifelinking, protection from vampires creature that's just going to get huge. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of spirits and the number of enchantments that you have. So it goes doubly wide in this deck where you're making a bunch of spirits, but almost everything in the deck is also an enchantment. That being said, if it does die, you can just recast it with Disturb, which can be, a little bit less expensive if you have Jukai Naturalist. And then it comes back onto the battlefield as Katilda's Rising Dawn. It'll trigger your enchantment synergies. It'll give you another spirit token if you have Hallowed Haunting out. And it will turn any one of your creatures into basically another Katilda Dawnhart Martyr. So those are the staples of the deck, and they're all well and good. But now we're going to talk about the red cards, which get kind of nutty. First of all, Bitter Reunion. 2 mana for an enchantment. When it enters, you discard a card, draw 2. So it's going to be a little bit of card advantage while also triggering your Hallowed Haunting, while also being another enchantment to go wide with, so that Haunting is that much closer to having 7 enchantments on the battlefield so that all of your things can get flying and vigilance. But what's most important about this is you can sack it for just 1 mana and give everything haste. So a lot of times these Jukai Naturalist, Selesnya enchantment decks, they go super wide with a bunch of Hallowed Haunting spirits in 1 turn that all buff each other and get really big, but then they all have to survive a turn cycle before you can win with them. So things like Sunfall can just really blow us out and hold us back. And if we blow our load and cast all of our enchantments and then they Sunfall them away, and then we already cast all of our enchantments, so we can't rebuild our board state effectively, that can be troublesome. With Bitter Reunion, all we need is just one leftover mana, and all of those spirits that we go wide with in just 1 turn can just all swing immediately, and we can just Alpha Strike and close out the game. It's insane. The fact that we're able to do that on top of an enchantment that's already valuable, that can be cast for just 1 mana if we have a Naturalist out, that can, draw some extra cards and get us card advantage and then trigger the Hallowed Haunting. It's just so much. So I've wanted to run red in a deck like this for a while, and this is the perfect time to do it because we have even more support now. The other card we're running is Etali's Favor. 3 mana for an enchantment aura. It gives something +1/+1 and trample, which isn't great by itself, but it also discovers 3. And there's a few key things here we can do. First of all, this can come down cheaper with Jukai Naturalist, right? It's going to cost only 2 mana, maybe even 1 if we have 2 Naturalists out. And then when it enters the battlefield and triggers that Discover 3, we can actually copy that trigger with the Weaver of Harmony so that we discover 3 twice. And then since everything in the deck is pretty much an enchantment, it's always going to find another enchantment, and when you play it off of a Discover, it's going to count as playing it. So if we play in Etali's favor, it triggers Hallowed Haunting. And then if we double up the Discover trigger, Discover 3 twice, both of the things we get into play are also going to trigger Hallowed Haunting. So that's like, what, if we have Naturalist out, that's a total of 3 mana, and we get 3 Hallowed Haunting triggers and 3 enchantments into play, one of which is the Etali's favor. That's just so much value. And what's better about Etali's favor is it gives us a way to trigger Calix as well. Sometimes in some of these Selesnya enchantment brews, we don't really have a lot of auras to use Calix with, and he's just kind of good enough by himself that he's still worth running. But this gives us another way that, you know, if we have an Etali's favor on the board enchanting one of our creatures from a prior turn, and then we just slam Calix and swing in, and that creature connects because it has trample from Etali's favor, then we get to just copy whatever we want, maybe even in Etali's favor, so that another creature becomes enchanted, and we get to Discover 3 again. So there's just so much we can do. There's just so much we can do with Etali's favor, and it's another great reason to go into red. But the newest cards, and the reason we finally did it and actually went into red, there's 2 of them. First up, Warleader's Call. This is obvious. 3 mana enchantment gives all of your creatures +1/+1, and whenever a creature enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is like gasoline for this deck, because we can already go so wide with Hallowed Haunting so quickly. We can get a ton of triggers off the Warleader's Call, but the Warleader's Call itself will actually trigger the Hallowed Haunting and make a token, and when it does, it goes on the stack. Warleader's Call is in play when that token is made, so the token it makes from the call itself will actually trigger the call. And then all of those spirits are buffed up an extra +1/+1 from the Warleader's Call, along with all of our other creatures, so it just kind of does everything we want to do, and just really helps contribute to damage in a way that helps us close out the game way sooner than we did without red in the deck. And then the last card is Case of the Crimson Pulse, which is kind of the namesake of the deck. And this is just absolute insane gas that just keeps the deck going forever. So you play it for 3, sometimes you'll play it for 2 if you have a Naturalist out, right? You discard a card, draw 2 cards. So in that way, it's kind of like copy 5 and copy 6 of Bitter Reunion. Except this time it sits on the battlefield, and when you have no cards left in your hand, if you just vomit them all out to trigger your Hallowed Haunting, Hallowed Haunting? I'm tired, guys. I've just been grinding content. Give me a break. But anyway, if you vomited out your whole hand to trigger the Hallowed Haunting, and now you've got nothing left in hand, this will solve, and then every turn you're gonna draw 2 cards in addition to the one you draw on your draw step, so you're gonna draw 3 cards every turn. That's just insane gas. When it's so easy to just vomit out all of these cheap enchantments, especially with Jukai Naturalist's help, being able to just gas up on cards every single turn and just smash them all on the board and never run out of gas is absolutely insane. And again, this is an enchantment as well, so it comes into play, it triggers the Haunting, it counts as an enchantment in play for the 7 enchantments you need to give everything flying and vigilance. Like, it works with everything else in the deck, it synergizes so well. So 2 copies of these to just finish out, help us get the last bit of gas we need to just get through and finish the game. But really the core revolves around trying to be as aggressive as possible with making things have haste with Bitter Reunion and getting way more damage out of them with Warleader's Call and getting insane amount of value with Etali's favor. So this is the deck. It kind of goes off. I'm sure once Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes out, we'll be able to make an even crazier version of this deck. But even for right now, this is just nuts. It is a little bit slow on the first couple turns. Sometimes you can run out of gas a little bit as far as tempo when you're up against some of those Boros Convoke decks, but most of the time you can even handle those decks pretty effectively just because of the sheer insane board states you can create so quick with Hallowed Haunting. So 4 Jetmir's Garden, 4 Razorverge Thicket, 4 Brushland, 4 Sundown Pass, 4 Copperline Gorge, and just 1 Plains The land base, the mana base is there specifically to be as fast as possible. We don't really care about having lands come into play tapped, our 4th land, our 5th land, and stuff like that, because everything's coming down so quick, so cheap, that by then it should just be kind of extra a little bit to begin with. Once we get the Haunting out, we're pretty much running out of gas anyway, so it's way more important that we have our untapped lands online early so that we can curve out super effectively, get a tempo lead against our opponent if possible, and just close out the game with an insane amount of value. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. The deck is super sweet. Outlaws of Thunder Junction is coming so soon, right around the corner, but I had to just sneak this one out before we got there and share it with all of you guys before we get distracted by all the crazy new insanity that's coming in that set. So hope you guys dig it. The games are pretty rad. Let's check them out. Can we keep this? We are on the draw. I'm going to try it. It means we can't play anything till at least turn 3 because we have 2 slow lands. Oof. Make that 3 slow lands. Oof. Make that 4 slow lands. Let's see, maybe we play War Leader's Call first. Or maybe we do this. And then this. And then hope that the Naturalist sticks around. Although it probably won't. Knight Errant. You only tapped 1? What are you doing? Did you net deck this deck and not know how to play it? Maybe he's only got 1-drops in the whole deck. What? I effectively gained a life and killed your guy for nothing? For literally nothing? Alright, we're going to get the Hallowed Haunting out there just to set it up. No attacks. We're just going to hold back the Jukai Naturalist so that he can't swing in with 1/1s. Unless he's a dummy. And he's already kind of shown that he's a dummy, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough, gods. It goes in phases for sure. There's something in the algorithm that's trying to figure out, like, how far can we push them and then reel them back in. It feels bad. But you're not the only one. How wide do we need to go? We'll do this. And then we'll do this. And that is not awful. Kind of have blockers now. He might not be able to alpha strike right away. We're at full life. Even if we lose the Naturalist in combat, we still gain 3 life from it because of lifelink. Nothing's over. That's for sure. Alright, he's still building. He's still building. He wants to Imidane's Recruiter next turn. But we've got a lot to do before then. A lot. Watch how crazy this next turn's gonna be. Hurry up. Do whatever you're doing. I want to do the turn. Alright, we take 5. We only have 4 mana, right? Well, we definitely want Atali's Favor. I guess we could go like... Well, we could draw into a land with the Spirited Companion. Alright, we're gonna go Spirited Companion. Double trigger. Draw a card. Resolve. Land, but it's not the land we need. We're gonna play Atali's Favor on the Jukai Naturalist. Trigger, trigger. Resolve, resolve. When it enters the battlefield, we're gonna copy the Atali's Favor trigger. So now we discover 3 twice. We're gonna get a Naturalist. We're gonna get 2 more triggers off the Haunting. And then we're gonna get a Wedding Announcement. 2 more triggers off the Haunting. At 435, he will have to block the Naturalist, right? Yeah, that's fine. And everything's Vigilance, because we have enough enchantments. I'm gonna swap over really quick.
It's all in the reflexes.
I don't even think that's enough, dude. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. Another slow hand. 2 more slow lands. Do I need to retool the mana base with less slow lands? Or does the shuffler just hate me? We can't keep it, right? We'll keep this. We'll toss back the Hallowed Haunting because we don't need it yet. We're not going to be able to play it anytime soon, so... We're going to slam the Garden. We're going to go Copperline Gorge, Spirited Companion on 2. Man. Maybe I should have kept the Haunting instead of the second Spirited Companion. If we can save the Atali's Favor until after the Hallowed Haunting, it would be best. If we need to play it before then, we will. But if we have other things to play, like Wedding Announcement, we're just going to do that. Start with the Spirited Companion. Draw a card. We're going to swing for 1. We'll play the Weaver. And we'll get another token. I think I want this down. Swing. When that triggers, we're going to copy that trigger. So we're going to draw 2 cards. And we've got lethal next turn unless he's got a sweeper. Spike King. The King of Spike. Big score. Well, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do This is much better. We'll keep this. Alright, we'll start with the Garden. Next turn we'll go Brushland into Weaver. Like, both Weaver and Naturalist are good on 2 if they survive. But Naturalist is still really good on 3 if it survives, because it can then play a 2-drop for just 1 mana immediately. So if we have the choice between Weaver and Naturalist, play Weaver on 2. Because if they don't have the removal, being able to use Weaver's ability the next turn is insane. And if they do have removal, it's better to lose the Weaver than the Naturalist before we get to get value off the Naturalist, because the Naturalist can get value on turn 3, whereas the Weaver could not if it comes down on turn 3. Although maybe I should have just played the Spirited Companion and copied it with Weaver. That's okay though, we'll just do this. We will just do this. And we will swing, and you will block, and we will pass the turn. What we should have done is swung with the Weaver before we played anything. But I kind of realized that after playing the Naturalist, and I wanted to take advantage of the cost reduction before he could instant speed kill the Naturalist while I still had priority. So I didn't want to then go to swings before playing the Companion, you know? Kaboomba. What you got? Nothing? Oh god. Good luck. Good luck. It's about to be a turn. I think we'll play the Gorge and hold on to the Garden, because the Garden has a little bit of late game potential in that we can cycle it away to draw something if we're out of gas. And we're getting to the point where we don't need as many more lands to come down, so I mean, they both come into play tapped anyway, so we don't lose anything really. Hello. Which triggers do we want to copy? Probably that one, right? Alright, so we'll do that. Just copy all of the Hallowed Haunting triggers. Get 1,000,000 spirits. Does he have a Wandering Emperor? Probably does, but I still think we gotta go for it. Oh, you're just doing that. Cosmic Rebirth, Memory Deluge. He's gotta have like a Sunfall, right? As long as it's not Farewell, I'll be happy. Yeah, that's fine. We've got Hallowed Haunting and Wedding Announcement that will stay in play, so even though it's a bummer, we lose a lot, we're far from out, for sure. All right, we're going to start with Bitter Reunion. We will discard the Thicket. Then we'll play Jukai Naturalist. Oh, so close. Oh, so close. We could get him to 1. But one is not dead. I think we got to, though. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. Miwaruru. Shigeki. Good lord. Good lordy, good lordy, good lord. Well, we'll try to do this. What big teeth you have. We'll do this. Put a counter on you. Kill the Shigeki. Alright. Let's see what he's got. He's got to be able to stop 3 creatures. You can stop one of them with that, but then he's got 3 mana that he has to stop 2 more. I don't think so. Yeah, we got you. Had a feeling. 2 slow lands. I don't think we can keep that. Well, we are on the draw. Let's try it. If we can just manage to cast our Spirited Companion or Bitter Reunion on turn 2, we'll be in pretty good shape. And they give us a 3rd copy of the same slow land. I seriously feel like Arena's just trying to insult us at this point. I really do. I really, really do. You didn't play anything on turn 2? Okay. At least we have a little bit of time to catch up then. Now I don't feel so bad. We're definitely going to play Wedding Announcement. Because that's going to provide continued value over the course of multiple turns. Give us potentially multiple chump blockers in order to drag the game out so we can cast the rest of our stuff. Invasion of Regatha, nice. Alright, we're going to start with this. Toss away the Thicket. Then play this. Then we'll play a Weaver of Harmony. Try and get the ability online. Worst case scenario, if he has to throw direct damage at our Weaver of Harmony, we're keeping ourselves alive. And if he doesn't, we're going to get to copy some abilities, which should also be really good. Turn Atali's favor into a collected company. That ought to be pretty good. Shivan Devastator. Swinging at us. Alright, alright. I see what you're doing. We're going to copy Atali's favor. Let's see what we get. Case of the Crimson Pulse. Nice. We'll discard, I think Weaver. We're not going to have any time to play it, right? And then we'll hit Spirited Companion. play you out. Swing for 2. Pass the turn. Now, the only question is, can we survive this turn? It's going to be really close. We don't know what he has in his hand, but... Monstrous Rage. Okay, that's fine. Case of the Gateway Express. Alright, we're definitely playing Jukai Naturalist. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. Damn it.
Oh boy!
Hey, what's going, Zoro? What's going on? We want to use this for sure. But we really want to copy Natali's favor too. Don't we? So maybe we don't play Case of the Gateway. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to play you. We're going to copy it with Weaver. With a Spirited Companion. Hit another Jukai Naturalist. Then we're going to crack the Bitter Reunion. And then we're going to swing with the team. Yeah. See you later. Alright, I'm going to try and keep this. We're going to play the Garden. Hello. Rubble Belt Maverick. Well, all right then. Hype levels through the roofs. Throw the roof! You know what I'm not hyped about? I'm not hyped how I wasn't invited back to early access. I've never wanted to punch a goat more in my life. In my life, Jay. Somebody find me a damn goat. So I can punch it. You know how hard I worked to get into that early access the first time? 15 months. 15 months of emailing them twice a month. Basically sending a resume. Being like, this is how good my channel's doing. This is my numbers. This is my like percentile growth rate month on month. I know it's not a lot because I'm small, but my channel's growing faster than any other channel at my level. Like there's a future here, like XYZ. Like I worked so hard. 15 months of twice a month emails. Finally, they gave me the time of day. They got me into early access. They promised me that from here on out, I would be a part of it. And then they fuck up and fire everybody and go, oh wait, those were all the people that did the early access, right? What are we gonna do? So they have to start from scratch. And they don't invite us. It's like, man, I worked so hard to market your game for you. Like, come on, throw me a bone. It's very frustrating. I guess we'll do this. We'll dump this. Yeah, it's not good for them either, Jay, because it's like the best free marketing ever. And now they have to start from scratch, which I think is the #1 reason why not everybody came back. Because they don't even know. They don't have access to that email anymore. They don't even know who was included, you know? Yeah, it's wild, Jay. That's why I try to support you when I can. I make sure to like every video for sure. It's just like, you work so hard and no one gives you any fucking credit. Alright. Gotta do some winning. How are we gonna do some winning? How are we gonna do some winning? I will not tolerate any losers in this family. Win! Win! I've been like killing myself on the content grind lately. Like absolutely. I've done nothing for like the last 2 weeks. I've done literally nothing but wake up and grind content until I go to bed. Every single day without a day off. This stream right now, this bonus stream, is the closest thing I've had to any off time. Because I'm just like, well, fuck you, wizards. I'm gonna show you what's up. I'm gonna like push through all of it. Put a roadblock in front of me. It's just another good story one day when I get there. That's it. I don't trust him. Yes. You get it. I got some new emotes for when I'm getting salty. Another Hallowed Haunting. Oh god. Well, here's what we're gonna do. And then we copy the Atali's favor trigger. So we'll get a bitter reunion, which will give us another spirit. And we will discard to draw. And then we will get a case of the Crimson Pulse. And we will discard to draw. And then we'll play a land and we'll pass. How's that, War Man? Show me your roots. Show me your roots. We also got this one for all the pay-to-win whales out there. And then we got this one for people that submit ridiculous deck techs that think money just grows on trees for me or something. And then we got this one for when I think back about before I started grinding content and just spent all of my time actually ranking up to Mythic. There was a time. There was a time when I never had a single month where I didn't make it to Mythic. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Jay. That's why I got on the grind. Really, Finn, my primary mod, was the one that really encouraged me and pushed me. He made like the bulk of the hourglass one. I did a little modification to it with an icon I found online, but I'm gonna start opening up channel memberships on the YouTube And I want to have the emotes for that, so I was like, I need to stop procrastinating and get some emotes that make sense for the channel. Aw, they're all gonna die. What do you mean, Finn? I is confused. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. 5 manners. Gonna do that. And we're gonna swing. And we're gonna do this. Copy you. Take action. We're going to make a copy of Hallowed Haunting. Put a counter on you. Wait, what? Oh, it's only once a turn. Right, okay. Oopsie. Finn, do you know how to make that damn angel emote animated? Because it does not pop up animated. I downloaded it as a GIF. I uploaded it as a GIF. And it's got all 24 layers just as one static image. Hello. I think I got you. I think I got you. What is going on here? They don't have reach, right? So I mean... We'll do this. We'll do this. I think he's gonna scoop. think he's gonna scoop. And haste. We'll just get in there with everything ever. Sounds about right. Alright, we're going to keep this. We've got no red, and our only 2-drop is red, which is kind of a bummer. But at least we have 3 lands. So worst case scenario, we can turn 3 Wedding Announcement into turn 4 Wedding Announcement into turn 5 Wedding Announcement. And just stall his ground forces forever. Alright. Here we go. That might still be the plan. As tempting as it would be to go turn 4 Hallowed Haunting. Well, I don't know. He seems like he got slowed down. Maybe we can take a turn off the Hallowed Haunting. I'm not so sure, but possibly. We just need to conserve whatever health we can at all times. 3 chump blocks in a row from a Wedding Announcement seems fine to me. That's fine, that's fine. It does force him to use up his trick. So it's not the end of the world. The real question is, what do we play? What do we play? Tricky. The monstrous rage makes things much trickier. I think we gotta do this. Well, it is what it is. Do it on after hours? Yeah, eventually, when I have the camera. Let's see, you got another one? I've wanted to do something for a while too with the community called what I'm tentatively calling JRPG Book Club, where you take just like an old school RPG, you know, one of the old sprite-based RPGs from like PlayStation 1 or Super Nintendo era, and play through it together. So each week we kind of set a goal, like get to this point in the story, or like get to the point where you fight this boss, and then you take whatever time you want over the week getting there. And then we have one stream a week where we talk about what happened up to that point, and I stream playing the first couple hours or whatever of the next part of the story. And then when we end the stream, we're like, okay, this is where we're leaving off. Everybody get to this by next week's stream. So that it's not all happening on stream, but some of it is happening on stream, and we get to have discussions each week about like where we left off and stuff in the story. I think something like that would be pretty cool. We're gonna do this. And we're gonna get 2 Wedding Announcements. And now we've got plenty of blockers. And a big dude left over. We gotta block as much damage as possible because of trample. It's getting mighty close, guys. It's getting mighty close. Okay, we need at least 3 creatures so that we can kill the Kamano. We swing, we do damage. We're gonna copy the case so that we can kill the Kamano, put a counter on this guy. I mean, if he has shock, it's just over. But if he doesn't have shock, if we just have one more turn, we should be okay. Discard, draw. We'll play Wedding Announcement. And then we'll go like this. Give them all haste and smash. Sick. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a big hug. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.